Ha! I don't know if Guy will be on tonight, but whether he is or isn't, it should be an interesting show tonight if Cat remembers to come on, which I'm hoping she does. They do. Sorry, they do. Because I was talking to them about marketing earlier today, and they want to come on and chit chat about marketing a comic. So I'm trying to entice. It's not required, but we'll see. It's up to him. I'm not forcing him. If he wants to come on, he wants to come on. If he doesn't. That's okay too. Speaking of which, let me send art. Okay. There we go. For now, I am just going to draw this. I have not shown her Phobos wings since the first issue. Yeah, I should put the thing up, but I'm not. I'm too tired. Okay. 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 Yeah. Okay. I don't know if she's. I'm hoping she's coming. Mm-hmm. Nope, that's not right. Yeah, that's better. Mm. Okay. Ooh. Now, I like the shape of the yellow one better. There we go. Are you stuck? Maybe. It's gonna be a quiet Friday. I don't don't know how to get a hold of Kat. Let's see if I have her. Kara. We'll shoot her that. Because, yes. She is fast. Ah, okay, cool. Cat ate the cabled one. That one. So, This is probably the most repetitive song in history. I'm gonna turn things down. Okay, there we go. Okay. Hello? Ah, I see a cat. Hello? I cannot hear you if you are speaking.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
There we go. Yeah, that's why. It went to a default.
How are you this evening?
Doing okay. Trying to get some more pages done. You know, the usual.
Yeah, I know the grind.
Yeah, I didn't actually get anything done today. Done for posting today, so I gotta try to get that done today.
Yeah, I saw that you were delaying till tomorrow, which happens.
Yeah, I'm redoing my celiac testing, and it just has me completely drained of it now.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I only got one page done, and I think like half of the second one. It was just
Oh no.
not a good week. Yeah, like I didn't even get anywhere close to 4 pages done. So I'm like, yeah, that's not happening today. That's not gonna happen. But I figure if I can get this last one done, at least I'll have 2 pages for tomorrow.
Yeah. It's better to have something than nothing.
Right. And I was like, I can't post just one page, so at least I'll have something.
Yeah.
So oh boy. The basic thing to think about when it comes to marketing is you have to know who you're aiming for, or have at least an estimated guess. And everyone is not an audience. Like if I were to ask you like who your audience is, everyone is not an answer.
No, and I
Um,
when I envisioned this,
mm-hmm.
that was not who I was going for.
Oh yeah,
Like
I'm just saying it
this.
happens. Like I get that answer a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So my my marketing, the group I'm going for are the people who like dark magical girls, which is where this is bent towards. So like the Modoka Magica crowds, we're not talking young adults, we're talking older teens, maybe even young adults or older. One where it can
Mm-hmm.
go on the darker side and not, that's what they're looking for.
Right. So usually what I do when I sit down with people is I have them like usually like make a list of all of like of 3 to 5 series that are similar to theirs, either in genre, topic, so, things or themes, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Just to get people thinking about like what are the themes. For example, like God's Bane would have things like gods, mythology, Nancy. Like it would have just a list of different things, and
Yeah.
then a list of 3 to 5 series that are similar that don't necessarily have to contain those things, but just stuff that you could say if you like this, you'll like this. Stuff that's similar-ish, and then from
Okay.
there, um, usually the next step is to say, okay, what platforms are you already active on? Do you have a following? Like that sort of thing. Like what sort of possibilities are there as far as what you already have? Um, and for most people, it's like Instagram and Twitter and Facebook are like usually the majority of what people have. But people don't really think about Reddit. And I know Reddit is this really big, scary monster for a lot of people. But it is like one of the most powerful tools that you can use to spread word about your stuff faster. Because also everyone's like, oh well, Reddit, you can promote on Reddit, and yes, you just have to play by
You have
their
to be
rules.
careful of it. Yeah. You have to be
Yeah,
careful,
and
but
lots
you
of
can do it.
places. Like there are lots of places where they are happy to let you self promote yourself as long as you say maybe only do it once a week, or you do it on a certain day, or you apply to a certain thread. Like stuff like that. Like you can do. It takes research and time to look through. People aren't willing to do that. I have gotten, I think, about 10 to 20% of my reads from Reddit alone. So at like about 1,000 to 1,200 reads just from Reddit. Um,
Yeah,
and a
that's
lot of the other ones
significant.
yeah, but that's been over the last 3 or 4 months. And so that's the other thing is it's a game to wait to so there's 2 factors when it comes to like getting like really big hits. Is it's how big of a library do you already have available to read? In other words, bingeability. What is your bingeability? And then 2 is are you marketing in the right places as far as like getting that. So for example, we had someone just over the last 2 days that made a TikTok, and this TikTok got almost 1 million likes, and they broke records today or over the last couple days for like being the most viewed person. And talk about places, they just happened to have a link to their profile or to their comic in their profile, and that's how they got so many reads. So like even TikTok could technically be self-promo if that's why I say like people need to look at what they're already on, what they're already active on, what they use, what they enjoy doing. Do you enjoy making videos? Do you enjoy just writing posts? The other thing is to vary the type of content. Like self-promo doesn't have to be just you dropping a link to your comment and leaving. It could also be say, hey, here's some character art, and literally leave it at it. Like don't even like attempt to self-promo the first couple times. In a particular subreddit, just like example for a subreddit, I posted 3 pictures of my characters. And people were like, wow, these look really nice. You know, like is there a manga for them? Like I had people asking me about it. I'm like, yeah, there is. Here's the link. You know, so like, and I've been like actively working in these subreddits for months ahead of time because I knew what my plan was. Is now these people know me. I'm in like r/manga makers and r/clip studio as my 2 primaries for right now. But I'm also things like r/occult, r/fantasy, r/anime art, r/comic art. You know, all of these places where you are allowed to self-promo if you follow rules and already have a pretty large member count. So they're active, there's a lot of people there, that kind of thing. If you're wanting to post, say, like videos or shorts, if that's content you like making or you like posting time lapses, like Instagram, Reddit, and TikTok are really good choices. Not Reddit. Instagram and TikTok are really great choices because they like those sorts of content. They like videos, they like tutorials, they like time lapses, especially if you use the trending music of the day. Or within the last couple hours, that can also give you a really good chance for success because the algorithm is going, hey, here's the video, here's some, you know, this music is already doing really popular, this will give it really good odds of being watched, so let's do it. If you like doing memes and challenges and like little fun things that people are doing, Instagram and TikTok are for you. Those sorts of challenges and stuff are popular, so that's a good option. So it's all about deciding like what do I have available to me to already use? What type of content do I enjoy making that's easy for me to make on a consistent basis? You know, like at least every other day, like bare minimum, at least every other day.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, that kind of thing. So that's why it's kind of hard to like tell people this will work for you because like I don't know what will work for you. Meaning you, universal you. That depends on what's available. So, did any of that seem like it might sound interesting or fun to you?
Actually, yeah.
Okay,
And
which one?
it's given me some ideas that I'm thinking about heavily.
Mm-hmm.
Like doing, dropping a little bit of art here and there, yeah. But the TikTok is really interesting because it'll actually butt into what I want to do for my Kickstarter for this comic. When I go to do one, is I have this animation in mind of the main character just absolutely beat to hell and standing back up, and you just see the start of this battle happening. And I think that would be really good. It's a couple years old, but do you remember the book Kairos?
The book Kairos?
Kairos, yes. It was a French comic series.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So let me look it up real quick. Maybe I'll remember if I see it. I'm so bad with that kind of stuff.
So Kairos did a Kickstarter. And I have the comic trailer here for it.
Oh, Kairos. Yeah. Yeah, I know this one.
Where, it was just, he's fighting and it's showing all the different things. and it was really well done, and everybody went, "Oh!" I was thinking, if I do something like that, maybe start out small, learn how to animate using Clip Studio,
Mm-hmm.
and do like little animations that build into this bigger thing. That could become really kind of interesting. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, sorry, I'm just reading really quick. Yeah, that would definitely work. The thing is that's like long term. That's like far away. So what do you think that you could do between then, as between the time you're getting ready to start making this animation? Do you have anything that you feel that you could do, say over the weekend or starting next week, that you could
Yes.
start making posts and start doing that kind of stuff?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So that would be
Absolutely.
that. Right, so that probably would be best. Down later, we can always like DM over Twitter and we can actually like sit there and talk about like what would actually be best as far as like best things to attempt. So like I said, the first steps are figuring out like so it would be so the first steps so oh well let me back up. First steps are figuring out what you already have. So where are you already posting? Where are you already consecutive?
Facebook and Twitter.
Okay. Facebook is harder because it likes to shut down any links that lead off Facebook. Um, but if you already have like an active engagement, like if you already have an active group of people that to your benefit, um, and since you are active on Twitter, that's great. Twitter is great because it's resharing. It's very similar to Tumblr in that things can spread very, very quickly. So that's really helpful. The thing is with
I've
Twitter, good.
I've also heard Instagram isn't bad, but again, that's owned by Facebook. So
The problem with Instagram is no links in profiles, or they very much limit that. They also, or I mean, not links in profiles, no links in posts. And so the problem with Instagram is you have to get the person to either read your story and then swipe up, or you have to get them to visit your profile. So if you think you can do that, you could definitely use Instagram to spread awareness for sure. Like regardless if you are already getting activity on Instagram, like don't stop using it.
yeah,
So yeah, so if you're already active there, great. Like keep doing it, and that's kind of why I was saying like if you're already active somewhere, like just keep doing what you're doing, and then from here we can say okay, let's add on this and let's narrow it down so that we can like really try to narrow down the group, narrow down like the quality of any sort of self-promotional content in terms of how do we figure out and engage and help them find it,
yeah,
because everyone tends to say oh well there's nobody likes my content, and it's like no, there's people that like it, they just haven't found it yet. You know what I mean? That's kind of how you
yeah,
have
and
to
that's
look
the
at it.
problem.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's the way I look at it is I'm unknown. Like
Yeah.
people I know there's an audience out there, but it's like that fishing in the sea.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
out there. You just have to locate it first.
Yeah, I definitely feel similarly. It's kind of like a waiting game at this point where it's like I need to like I want to be patient, but like I'm also like man, like I'm getting frustrated. Where is everybody? I'm in
Yeah,
danger. Like
I'm in danger.
yeah, it can definitely be frustrating at times. Um so like for example, I guess I'll write my stuff out. So like for example, I'll just make a brand new document to make my life easier. So like for example, I'm just gonna write this just so that I can actually physically do it while I talk about it. So similar series. So I'm gonna write down some similar series.
Madoka Magica. Are you doing this for you or me?
I was gonna do both.
Oh, okay.
So Madoka.
Madoka, Magical Girls of the Apocalypse, um, Recreators. I don't know if you've seen that anime
I've never
or
heard of
not.
it.
Oh, it is. So these different uh, creators have their characters pulled from their worlds into the real world. And
Hmm.
so they're getting to meet their creator. They're getting to meet their creations, and their creations are meeting their creators.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay. All right, so we've got 3. Are there any more that could possibly work? Do you think?
Mm, probably a lot more. I would have to look around a
3. We
little bit.
can. Yeah, we can start with 3 if that's all you can think about at the moment. It's not that big a deal. So, all right. So now that we've got some similar series, oh, come on, it's doing its autosave. Come on. There we go. Okay, some similar series. What are some of the themes that are relevant in terms of things that can say, okay, like my comic is about this. It has these motifs. It has these themes. It would be this genre, this age group, that kind of thing. What are between yours and these? Obviously, the magical
So
girl aspect.
magical, dark, um, war, psychological. Um, I'm not sure what else.
What sort of ages are the characters? Are they all similar ages?
They're between about 18 and 22.
Okay, so they're young adults. So they're young adult characters.
Yeah.
Are they all in fantasy worlds, or are like completely brand new worlds, or are they all in like a realistic version of Earth?
They're all in kind of a realistic slash post-apocalyptic version of Earth.
So sort of like a modern fantasy almost, but like a post-apocalyptic.
Yeah. So it's literally the apocalypse is happening and they're trying to stop it.
Okay. Is there anything like magical creatures, like little companions? Is there anything like that?
Yes.
Okay. So magical companions. Okay, cool. So we've got a list of some basic ideas. Oh, yeah, magical girl. So of course there's transformations and stuff. So we've got a basic list of some of these things that we can say, okay, now what would we be able to do with this? And so the next step would be to go to, since you're already active on Facebook, we can go to Facebook groups and look for groups that have things that are groups that have themes that are similar to these. So we could go to I don't know any because I don't work in this genre. But you can also go to just, and you already know this, like general comic and manga groups. So that's something you can already do. So we can look for themed or relevant. And this word is key: active groups. There's no point in posting in a place that's not active, because it's not going to get you what you want. And then with Reddit, are you familiar at all with Reddit? And it's okay to say no.
Yes, I am familiar a bit with Reddit. It's been a number of years, but I am familiar with them.
It's basically the same Reddit it always was. So we'll look for various subreddits that have, again, similar themes, similar or relevance themes. Okay, so this is one step that we can take to start narrowing down our group. And what you're going to do is you're going to go through Facebook groups, and you're going to go through Reddit, and you're going to make a list. If I can write today. You're going to make a list of all these places, and you write it out. Don't keep it in your head. Write it out. And the reason you want to write it out on a piece of paper or a whiteboard or just somewhere where you'll remember it is when you say, oh, I don't know what to do. Go there and say, hey, have I made a post recently? What are the rules? And so that takes us to our next step is make a plan. Well, so this is, you know, one way we can take this if we don't want to count doing demo and psychographics, which I'll cover in a little bit. So we're going to make a plan. There's two ways we can approach this. Do you know what a UTM link is?
Absolutely no idea.
That's perfectly fine. So basically what they are is it's a link plus code added into that link, and it tracks traffic. That's one way you can use it. I use it to track traffic and engagement.
Okay.
So basically, I'll give you an example. So say I make a Twitter post. Remember that viral tweet that I had like a couple weeks ago?
Yes.
So what I did is I put I had my Twitter post, and then in one of my replies I put a link to my comic or a link to my manga. That UTM link, and I can show you later how to generate these, and anyone can generate them. There's tons of websites that make it really, really easy. But I have a document, and this is what I use to track them. I'm not going to bring it up for various reasons. So I'll have basically the original URL, and then I have like a bunch of like different categories that I'll add terms to help make it trackable, so that I can identify which link is. And then it'll take all of these factors and make a new URL. Basically. So basically you're creating a custom URL that you hook up to Google Analytics, and through Google Analytics you can actually track all of the engagement that those links get. What's really cool about Global Comics is when you go to your analytics, when you go to your page reads and your release analytics, and if you scroll down, you'll see something that's called acquisition sources on Global Comics Analytics. And it will actually tell you where your readership is coming from. It's all your traffic data. It's where are the people who read your comic coming from, how many people, and then how many page reads you got from that particular traffic source. So for example, the viral Twitter tweet that I posted, I had many of page reads come from that tweet. And I can see how many people clicked on it and how many total reads I got from that. Every time I post in Reddit, I make a brand new UTM link that's unique to that day, so that I can say, okay, on this day, I posted on this subreddit, and I posted this type of post. Like, was it a direct promo? Was it character art? Was it a question? Was it looking for feedback, kind of thing? Just a wide variety of post types. And again, we'll get to that in a second. But using these UTM links, I can create a custom link that will show up in the analytics. And if for whatever reason it doesn't show up in Global Comics, I've occasionally had that happen. Everything's in Google Analytics. That's why you want to add to your Google Analytics. Is if anything, you can go to your Google Analytics and see all of the data across time, started them, and see, hey, this is how it's working, this is how it's not working. These are the promo posts that do really well and those that don't. Because just because you don't, for example, on Reddit, I've learned, just because you don't get a lot of upvotes doesn't mean that it didn't do its job. I've had posts that had really low upvotes, but I got a lot of readers from, because they clicked the link, they read, and they didn't go back to upvote.
Okay, that's
whatever.
important to know.
Just because something performs poorly on Reddit in terms of like upvotes or whatever, that doesn't mean it was a waste. So I just wanted to know if you wanted to know what UTMs are. So when we're linking to places, now you don't have to do this. If you want to just post your regular link to Twitter, that's perfectly acceptable. It'll show up as either a Twitter link or a direct link. It'll be one of the two. Most likely it'll be Twitter, since it's Twitter. If you post to Instagram, it depends. Sometimes it'll show up as Instagram, sometimes it'll show up as a referral or direct. So you just kind of gotta, that's why UTMs are a little hard to understand sometimes. Sometimes stuff gets weird. It just depends on where exactly the traffic is coming from. And I can help you with that. Like, I can sit down and go over your own analytics with you. I just don't want to be like showing your own analytics on a stream.
Yeah.
try to keep that price. Otherwise, I'd have this information up for you to actually show you your stats. So now that we know what a UTM is, and we have a rough idea of what type of themes, similar series that we can look to for advice, how do we actually put all of this in practice? So the next thing we want to do is we want to identify our demographics. And this is what we just did. But we're going to do our demographics versus our psychographics. Do you know the difference between the two?
It's okay to say no. Actually, I don't.
Okay.
I do not.
So your dicks. Okay.
I know what a demographic is.
Okay. What's a demographic?
It's the range of people and ages that you're trying to promote to.
Mm-hmm. So age isn't the only factor. So the other things you can look at are gender and sex, because they're kind of combined when doing demographics and psychographics. But you also can look at things like income level, sort of buying power do they have, depending on the type of product you have. If you're buying something or if you're trying to sell something, the income level of your unfortunately does matter, and you have to consider that. If you're selling Ferraris and you're aiming at people that make $25,000 a year, you're not going to sell very well.
No, you're out of their price range.
Exactly. So income level, your location, their location, well, yours and theirs. That doesn't look like working. Location. So location matters, as well as what type of job they have. All of that stuff can matter. Like, if they have a job that are full-time, are they part-time? These are that are not as easily changed, don't change as often, or are physical characteristics that mark someone as as a group. But age is only one. So psychographics are things like personality, hobbies, goals, what sort of dreams they might have, like dreams or needs. What are they going to be getting from you actually need? And in comics, in this particular case, it's entertainment usually. So that's the sort of group that we're looking for. The needs is entertainment. They don't know that, but that's what they need.
Yeah.
And then things like hobbies and interests are kind of like the big thing here. Is like, what are their hobbies? What are their interests? What are their niche? Come on. Oh, it's autosave. 1 second. Autosave. There you go. They're sort of like niche quirks. So, like, what things are interesting to them? Like, for example, for me, I love pocket watches. Like, I love looking at them. I love collecting them. I used to collect them. Another thing for me is archery. I love archery. So when I see an archery manga, I get really freaking excited. Just because it's an archery manga, it's a hobby that already exists to me. So these like less permanent things that could vary a little bit, but make that individual unique, if I can spell today. So these are more about uniqueness, and these are more like permanent or how I see them as like slow changing, or not easily changed things. Does that make sense?
That actually makes sense to me. Like,
yeah.
Because, like, so one of the things later on that I want to do is cooking manga. So getting into cooking hobbyists would be a boon for this.
I have a friend of mine that never reads manga, but she loves chickens. And there's a manga coming out called Rooster Fighter, and she's like, "Hey Kat, where can I get this manga?" And I'm like, "Oh, let me help you." She doesn't read manga. I get this. So like, just because it's about a chicken superhero, she's interested in it, and she's not their normal demographic. But she's the proper psychographic for this group. Makes sense?
Yeah. It makes tons of sense. Wow.
Yeah, and it's sort of like these. So using this information. So what is this information good for? This is also going to help us find and narrow down things like subreddits, specific, more Facebook groups, and also your style as far as so like ad style. No one likes talking about this, but the way that you advertise, like men's underwear and women's underwear are not the same usually. For example, just as an example, it's not usually done the same way. The way you advertise an anime versus like a Western style like Marvel cartoon are not the same. They're different. They're different groups of people. And so like it's different. And think of the toys. Like, I don't know about you, but when I'm watching like children's TV, like the ads are so freaking annoying to me because of they're loud and they're screaming and they're like sensory overload because they're so bright and they're so colorful on their exactly. And so the way they advertise to kids is going to be far different than how they would say, you know, advertising this show or product or whatever to adults. And so that's why you want to think about these things is like, what sort of style would I be going for? And this is why knowing similar series is super freaking cool, because you can look at ads for those series and see how they're being done as a reference. See what they're doing, how they do it, but then you can also see where ads are. Ads or is shared. So, for example, if you go to say r/fantasy art, do you find Madoka Magica in there? Do you find the Resurrectors in there? Like, go to like the subreddit or whatever, or Facebook group that you think might be good for you, and type in the search terms for series that are similar to you. Type in some of the things, look around and see if the stuff that you like, that you're interested in, that you feel is relevant to your content, is even talked about there. Because if it isn't, it may work out, it may not. But if it is discussed, people already familiar with content similar to yours, and so that could be a really good place for you to find like-minded people who like what you like. So
this is fascinating.
I know, right?
Like
mind blown. Well, it's really interesting stuff.
It's not just mind blowing. It's like the internet is so much more than what it used to be, and there's so many more pockets of things, and so it's much more difficult to grasp.
Okay, so now how do we take all of this information and how do we turn it into something that can actually be actionable? So the first step you want to make is you want to make a plan. So what I'm starting off easy right now. I have 2 Facebook groups I don't like Facebook, but I've got a couple that I've been active in for a while, so that's why I'm posting there. And then I have 2 subreddits for now. And I post at least 3 times a week. Week. In Facebook and Reddit. Hey, guy, what's up?
I'm doing
Hi.
What you doing, man?
Doing a marketing lesson.
Doing a marketing lesson. Yeah. I was playing No Man's Sky, and I was totally not going to join. And then Ken was like, "You should join because Cass can do a marketing lesson." And I'm like, "Well, yeah,
I can start over.
You don't have to start over. The wonderful thing is, I can rewind the video."
Oh, nice. Cool. All right, so what I do to start is, with all the information I have now, I write out a plan. I pick, like I said, I have 2 Facebook groups that I'm active in, and I have 2 subreddits I'm active in. So, in Facebook, I make 3 posts, just 3 posts a week. I don't care where they are. I try to, be mindful of like how often I'm allowed to post there, because some say you're only allowed to self-promo once a week, or only on a certain day. So just make sure it's 3 posts a week. Reddit, I try to make 3 posts a week as well. Just anywhere, wherever I want. Usually what I'll do is I'll do the 2 groups that I know live in. So usually I'll do the 2 plus 1 new group. Or less active. That way I'm still trying those newer ones. I'm still trying other places because you never know what'll stick. And then plus 1 new subreddit. Or Reddit, or again, less active. That way I'm still putting the feelers out in some of these other I'm doing for right now. And then what I'm going to start doing now, Guy, you'll find this super fascinating. What? Were you going to say something?
I was going to ask you, do you did you already talk about what you post, or do you just post, "Hi, I'm Kat"?
That's what I'm getting to next.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. Then I'm just jumping ahead.
Yeah, because there's a whole that can do really well. Other options that we want to consider, because I know you talked about this, is TikTok. You said you're comfortable with TikTok already. So try to use trending audio. These are things you want to look at. So trending games. We called them memes when we were in our DeviantArt days. Memes, challenges, whatever you want to call them. Things like that. These are short form video content. So try to find out if you want to do this. Try to follow what's popular, which is for me a pain in the butt. I hate doing that stuff. But we had someone today. So Guy, hear this. This is so freaking cool. Like, I'm happy for him, but I'm also really jealous because now there's a manga more popular than mine.
You're right.
This person has been posting on Reddit multiple times a day for like the last week or 2. He had a post today, or post over the last has gotten to last time I looked, it was just under 1 million likes.
Wow.
Yeah. And from those 1 million, gained just under 120,000 page reads in 3 days on Global Comics.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? And all of that was from TikTok. And so now he's regularly posting on TikTok multiple times a day because that's where he's getting readers from.
That makes sense, yeah.
And so he just completely blew up. And because I was sitting there, going through analytics, because I check KPIs and I check stats every day. And I'm like, where the hell are all these pages? Like, suddenly we had like a spike of like 30,000 in one day. And I'm like, what is happening? Someone is blowing up. Who is it? And so like, I'm going through all of like the popular comics, trying out like, in the last week, trying to figure out who it is. And it's called Boy of a Semi, and it's a manga about knights. And he had posted a thing on a video on TikTok about him. He was like doing a really bad drawing, and the caption said, "So what's your backup plan if your manga doesn't work?" And then like at the very end of it, it shows like all of his really nice, beautiful finished artwork. And that's all it was. That's literally all it was, and it completely took off. And then like right after that, all of us after that kind of got about the same numbers as he was getting before, which is really interesting. But over the last couple days, it's completely blown up. So TikTok is really valuable. What's really neat is if you make anything on TikTok, you can also post it to Instagram for Reels. I freaking hate Instagram right now because they're ad heavy. But if you make stuff for TikTok, you can post it to Instagram. And if you have a monetized YouTube channel, you can also post it to YouTube Shorts. So these three you can kind of reuse on each other. The only thing you have to pay attention to is the time limit as far as how long the videos can be or length of video.
So is that the minimum? Is the minimum sort of the
maximum is different. So on TikTok, I think you can go anywhere from 15 seconds to 3 minutes. On Instagram, I think it's up to 60 seconds. And then on YouTube, it's 15 seconds. So that's it. That's all they allow, which really fucking sucks. Really nice is for these three, it's true for all of them. So you find any possible like video challenges, any like little like fun artists, show me your sketch and show me your final. That was really, really popular on Instagram for like 2 or 3 weeks. Everyone was doing it.
So another question then about using audio. You've got a lot of things about like using trending audio. Are we? Does this have a different stipulation about using audio that's copyrighted?
See, that's the tricky part. So I try not to use copyrighted audio because the problem is if that audio gets taken down for whatever reason, suddenly your video doesn't have any audio. If you are not a business account, you're fine. If you are a business account, especially on TikTok, they won't even let you use copyrighted stuff. Same thing with YouTube. With YouTube, they'll let you use copyrighted ones, but you're not allowed to monetize that video, that short.
Okay. I was curious. I know I've seen a lot of people posting TikTok videos with, and it says the name of the song on the bottom right. And of course, it's, call me maybe. As long as you don't
have a business account, you're fine.
Charlie, what's her name? Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you don't have a business account, you're fine. And in a lot of cases, you're allowed to use small clips of certain sounds. Like TikTok will say, hey, like you're allowed to use this sound. And so it has to be like the official track. The problem is when randos upload something and it's not the actual song, and then it can get taken down later. And usually you don't get penalized. So the only time you would get penalized is if you have a business account and you copyrighted content, then you could get so just pay attention, if you have a business account or like official account or whatever, you just need to be really careful with what sounds you're using. So that's why I like to follow the trending stuff. Is usually it's stuff that is either already been proven okay, or if people are using, there's no way they can catch all of this. That's my personal opinion. That's how I look at it. So those are kind of like, as far as like making a plan, is looking at, hey, like which of these do I want to really look at? Do I want to look at Facebook? I mean, I don't really like Facebook that much because they throttle anything with a link. It's really one of those. So let me back a little bit. Because I didn't talk about what to put on Facebook. So Facebook
is a way to get you to be fat, get you to be bigger over here, so that I can get a better view of this. But I don't know if there's any way to shuffle.
Oh, let me.
Oh, that one's. There we go. That's better.
I was gonna say I could. Okay, cool. So with Facebook, what I find works best is if you put the link in the comments. I've tested this out with my own profile. If I post a link in like the main post, those posts almost never get seen. They get I literally just had that happen to me when I shared my manga when I launched it. Nobody saw it, but then I posted it again with the link in the comments. Same thing with my Kickstarter that I just posted. I put the link in the comments. Everybody saw it. Like not everybody, but a lot of more people. saw it than before when I posted it in a regular, like at the very top. The other thing that's really cool about Facebook, so when you're making your posts and like here's your text or whatever, if you pin the link, so like here's the link, you get your little preview that pops up. This is another possible option for you. After your preview pops up, you can delete the link, and the preview that has to it will still be there. So if you didn't know that, now you do.
Now you do.
So so like when you make a comment or something, you know, I don't know if it works for comments. I know it works for posts though. So you know, you can do that as well. So link and comments usually seems to be working best. And that's something that we deal with as well with, you know, me working at Global Comics and posting on the Facebook page. Usually comments and the links work better, but sometimes we don't have a choice and we have to put it in the main post.
Right.
You know, for visibility and preview sake. So I would try to pick stuff that you're already, like groups you're already active in. Now Reddit is a special beast. So subreddits, you're familiar with Reddit, I'm guessing, Guy.
Oh yeah, I use Reddit all the time.
But
I don't understand posting to it. I don't quite still grasp how to post to it properly. Some places I'll post an image and then it says you can't post an image here, and then I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part is
I don't get that.
Yeah, subreddits they're complete community, and you have to read the rules before you join. So you have to read the rules. Like, so basically what you're looking for is self-promo. Some places will allow you to self-promo, but not put links. And then some places, like you mentioned, won't allow you to place images. They'll just make you talk about stuff. The other thing you want to look for is, like how often, can self-promo. So how often are you allowed to do rope porno?
Self-porno. No, don't do that. That's the wrong subreddit.
Well,
time for your OnlyFans.
Well, I did POMO, and I'm like, forgot the R, and it looked like Pomo, but it didn't look like Pomo. So Reddit is a little trickier. For me, what I've noticed helps with Reddit, and this is a long game thing, is join now, post later. So what I did before I even launched Godsbane was I joined the subreddit months in advance and acted like a normal person. I made the effort to actually go into those subreddits and actually talk, give advice, give feedback, be a normal member of the community, so that when it came my turn to post stuff, I already had a relationship with this community. And so if you want to do this, join something you really would engage with anyway, and make it a habit. Like if you have to set an alarm to do it once a day, go in there and go make a comment. Just leave a comment. It only has to be one, but just so that people are seeing you engaging with something, especially if it's controversial or it's a hot post. Like, try to find the posts where everyone is and leave a comment or something. Or, make a post that isn't self-promo in any way. It's just, I've got a question, and that's what I'll get to in a minute, is what types of posts you can make in these places. So, is that helpful? Any questions?
No, I just screen capped it.
Cool.
I'm like,
that's why I'll send you guys this document. That's why I'm writing it all out, so I'll send it to you guys later. Okay, that's awesome. So types of posts. Sorry, my handwriting is atrocious here. So this that I've learned do really well. So you call them your direct promos, where it's like, hey, read my stuff. It's like, hey, read my stuff. They're very direct, very blunt. These can go either way. They can go good or bad. So they're kind of hit or miss. Another thing you can do, since we're all talking about comics, these are all relevant to comics in particular, character art. And this could like people love seeing characters. People relate to characters. That is what they relate to when they're reading your comic. And so having characters that reaction out of people is super valuable. So if you have some really cool or some like really unique character art, so things like concept art, sketches. Do you guys sketch dump is?
Yeah.
I don't.
I'll show you an example.
Please. Oh, sketch dump, not a sketch jump.
Oh.
But that's all right.
This would be a sketch dump where I have a collection of sketches within a singular image, and I can say, hey, here's some sketches of this character that I'm doing. What do you guys think? Is the design interesting? And so usually if you take something like this, these like even if they're really, really rough images, I can then go in and say ask a okay, sketch dump, ask a question. Ask for feedback.
Right.
Or just ask a question in general. That's sort of like that says, hey, I want your opinion. People love giving their opinions. If you have the thick skin to possibly get a bad comment, this is a great option for you. Because it gets people engaged with your content, and the more engagement you get, the more likely you are to get a hot post or to get, a trending post. And that will get you even more viewers. And people will often say, when I post stuff with my characters, they'll say, "Oh, what manga is this?" This is the question that you want, because then you get to say, "It's mine."
Mine.
You get to say it's mine. So that's really, really exciting, right? So that's ultimately what you want to hear. And so it doesn't have to. It can be clean art. It can be messy, as you guys just saw. I did this one, and I'm getting ready to I haven't posted it yet. But I got all of these together. I'm going to be posting this sometime tomorrow. So that I can see if maybe I can get some reactions from people. Something else people really love to see is work in progress pages. If you're comfortable sharing your sketches, people love seeing sketches, especially sketch to final. You can say, what I would recommend actually is doing final. So show the finished page or the sketch after it. Or if you're comfortable doing the final, and then maybe your line art. People love seeing progress and process work because it helps teach them. They get to learn from it. And so not only do they get to be entertained, they possibly get to learn. So that's the value you're providing to those people. And a lot of times they'll ask you questions. And so learn from you and answer, for the love of God, answer them. Even if it's I don't know, do not ignore people who comment on your posts, for the love of God, unless they're being assholes. I see people who are like, why don't I get any engagement? Or and so I go to their posts and they're getting comments and they don't reply to them. And I'll be like, why are you not replying? I don't have time to reply to everybody. And if I reply to them, everyone thinks you're going to get a reply. And then they'll get mad at me. I'm like, bro, you are missing the opportunity to engage with these people and make friends and make connections. I can't tell you how many people have followed me on Reddit now. So no matter where I post, they get notified. And so in the Reddit game, that's super valuable, is when you can say, now that means you have to watch what you post. But if you want to, make a Reddit account just for the comic. That way, if you have your weird kinky Reddit posts and then your comic posts, they don't get mixed up. You know what I mean? The personal Reddit, which we all know we have, the one that remains anonymous, and then the one that's used for comic stuff. So, and this can go on anywhere. So even in Facebook, you can post direct promo, but that's kind of, maybe that's hit or miss. Character arts. sketches, concepts, ideas, that sort of thing. People love seeing those on Facebook as well. People love seeing that on Twitter, especially you can take advantage with Twitter of the 2-page, when it posts 2 images next to each other, is you can have like your final and then final, and you can have your sketch here, and it'll literally display them side by side, which is a really fun thing for people to look at.
Right. So I had heard at one point in time, give 10, ask 1, or give 8, ask 1, which was the give 8 things to the post, then promo 1. So make a balance so that you're commenting on this person's post or asking a question on this post or whatever, and then you do 10 of those. Then you can say, "Here's my comic," and that helps make the direct promo work better.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying earlier before, is go in there in advance, make friends, make relationships with people. Except I did like 3 months of it before I started posting my links.
Right.
And it worked out beautifully. Like, there are people now that know me. I can ask them questions. I've got people who will DM me and say, "Hey, I need help on this. Can you help me?" Like, I've already established myself within that community and said, "Hey, I'm a Clip Studio partner, right? So I go into the Clip Studio Reddits, and I can say, 'Hey, I'm a partner. Can I help you?'" And people fucking love me there.
Right.
For that reason, is that gave me some street cred. So if you have any street cred, like, don't be afraid to use it. You guys, stream. You guys are streamers, so maybe look for like streamer Reddits. Like, you guys are on Twitch, you guys are on whatever. Say, "Hey, I stream, my art at blah 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 blah. Here's the link," or say, "Hey, like, I stream this artwork. What would be your advice for doing this? Or what are some activities I can do to engage people?" Like, even if it's something you already know the answer to, go and ask anyway, purely for the sake of engagement. So pretend like you know nothing when you enter these spaces. Yeah, pretend like you're idiots, just so that you can, for the sake of getting people engaged. So pretend you know nothing. And what that does is that also gives other people the opportunity to say, "Hey, I helped this person." That makes them feel good. And then if they come in and give you advice, you can say, "Oh, well, what about this? What about that?"
Yeah, I mean, even just like what just happened here, where you were saying, "Do you know what a sketch dump is?" And then I said, "I don't know what a sketch jump is." And you're like, "Oh, well, a sketch dump is." And I was like, "Oh, actually, I know what that is." And I was like, "Wait a minute, never mind. Say it anyway." Because even though my question I know the answer to, somebody else might not. So it's still good to have that out there, because you still put that information out. So that was cool. So it wasn't wasted.
Right. So now we have a couple. I would keep it simple, limit it to maybe just a few different types of posts. And so what you'll do is you'll make a plan. What I do, let me see if I can actually bring it up, and I'll show you guys my sheet. Let's see if it'll let me.
Can you put the real quickly? Can you put the other sheet up real quick? The last page you had up there, so I can screen cap it.
Yeah.
There we go. And you can take it off now. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Can you guys see? Can you guys see this? Sorry. Can you guys see this Google Sheet?
No. I cannot.
Okay, so let me go into OBS really quick. Oh, it's on window capture, that's why. Okay, window. Switch to. I wasn't sure what I had the setting on. There we go. Okay, you guys should be able to see this now.
Yes.
Okay, this is my, I call it my marketing toolkit. Essentially what this is, guy, do you know what UTMs are?
No, I don't, actually.
Okay, so just really quick, I'll go over that really fast just so that you'll understand what the sheet is. A UTM is a link with code added into it to help track sources and traffic. So essentially what I'm able to do is I've got my original URL, and then I have all these different basically keywords, key phrases I can put into it that will help me identify what that specific link is. And then it takes all 4 of these and then generates a brand new link that I can post. And which really, with this particular link, I can then see my traffic sources. So let me open up my analytics and I'll show you an example of why these are helpful. And you can post these anywhere. I would not recommend posting UTMs on Discord or your personal Facebook. Do not post UTMs on your personal Facebook. That's not a good idea. So bring up my analytics real quick.
Yeah, but we could post them to Quasar Art Collective.
Yeah, you can. And with Reddit, for Reddit, what I would suggest, whenever you post a link, make it added on to existing text. That way it's not as obvious that it's a UTM, because if Reddit sees it's a UTM, they're not going to want to click it. So if you make it say, and you can click here to read my manga, literally like select, you can click here, and then insert that link into that text. That way it's hidden a little bit better. And not as obvious. So for example, here's my traffic sources for the last 30 days. So I'm looking at the last 30 days. This line right here, y'all might find highlight it.
Mm-hmm.
So
social Reddit.
Yeah, this particular line right here. Come on. Hey, there we go. So we have social. For me, this means it was posted on social media. The source was Reddit. The campaign is Manga Makers. That means it's a link that wasn't posted in our Slack. And then I gave it a term of character art. This was the character art post I was talking about. I had 7 people click on it, and I got 158 page reads just from that link alone. From posting in Manga Maker. So that's 158 page reads and 7 people that I got that I otherwise wouldn't have. Another like Reddit here is doing really Reddit's doing really well in terms of my sources. I've got one here, 158, 129, 90, 89, 74, 71, 39, 28. Like I've got all these different sources. This first one though, we're gonna look at this banger.
Real quickly stop you though, because
okay.
You were saying that you have a thing that says that creates a new link. How does it do that?
Okay, so this here is a sheet with a formula in it. You get my formula up here. So what it does is I put in my original URL, and then usually I put in the dates. I started adding the dates later on, and I've not been very thorough with it as I go along. But I have my original link, which is the page I want them to go to. So, for example, with this first one, they would be going directly to page 4 when they click on this particular link. So, and all of these here, all these these help you identify that particular link. So, from social, this is from social media. If I were to say put a link in an email, I would change social to email. That way I know it's coming from an email.
What I'm trying to get at is if I typed in, let's say www.abc.com/page1/social/campaign.
No, that would not work. No.
Return, it wouldn't work. So what I'm trying to ask is how does it make a URL that's readable? What's the math in that?
I have a formula in this row that takes all of these factors, adds them up into the places that they should be, and forms a new link for them. This is a formula that I got from someone else. I did not write this formula myself.
Okay, gotcha. In other words, there's a method to making a UTM. You could probably just Google how do I make a UTM.
There are literally websites that you can use to make your UTM. So you just type in the same information and it'll generate it for you. Sorry. I went and found the formula to use.
Yeah, no, that's where I was stuck, was because I'm like, I can't just type in 1//social.
Yeah.
It won't do anything. So
yeah, you'll want to look up the.
Now, where
Yeah,
does that come up? Now you've done all of this stuff. How does it track it? What system is that on Google?
Yeah, so I use Google Analytics. And since I'm posting on Global Comics specifically, I have my Global Comics connected to my Google Analytics. So if I go into my primary creator account here, I go down to identity and I scroll down just a little bit, I can put it in my tracking ID.
Gotcha.
Right. And so this here is connected to my Google Analytics for this particular account, and the account that this Gmail is under is connected to this tracking ID. And you can also go directly into Google Analytics and it'll show you the data there as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry for cutting you off on that one. I was like,
no,
I'm stuck.
That's okay.
I don't know how UTMs work all of a sudden.
Ask me questions. Really it's very useful. Yeah, it's super useful because now I can actually see all of this like tracking information to see actually like where people are coming from. And not only that, it's like, is this link that I'm posting, is it helpful? Was this a good idea? And so now I can look at this and say, oh, hey, this is really, really helpful. Or this character art Reddit post was a really good idea. I got to do that again. And so what I can then do is come in here. I'm going to go ahead.
Also, by putting in the date, let's say you do multiple character arts and one that you thought fell flat because you got nothing from it, it might go viral later on. So having that date and going, which art is this? And, you know, suddenly that's going viral and you're like, why is this suddenly exploding later on? Because that can happen too.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I try to mark I try to make each link just a little bit different, even if I'm posting the same thing. Like, for example, like this particular page, this was a video that I made, and it was posted to two different subreddits. When I release something, like I always make a unique name for it or whatever. So I'm kind of experimenting a little bit with the different ways I name things. So that's why it's kind of all over the place. I've just started doing this myself. But it's already been, just since I've started doing it in the last, maybe 2 months or so, has been incredibly helpful in helping me figure out what works and what doesn't work. So this I'm still kind of new to as well. The other thing that's really, really important that I haven't mentioned yet, do not link to the chapter cover or the series cover. Don't do it.
Okay. That's interesting.
Here's why.
I would totally do that.
So I'm going to show you why. So notice one interesting thing. It's about half lost between the first page and the second page, right? Let's click on the next one. Oops. It's not quite a half loss, but it's just about half an audience loss, right? Let's check the next one. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a half loss. If, however, I click on if I take an audience to the second page, I tend to get better reads if I link people to the first actual interior of that particular episode. So for example, in this one, which is my first 17 pages, this was originally much lower. See how it's not half, but all the other ones are at least half or lower. This one had a much sharper drop. And you guys kind of have to trust me on this because I don't have the graphs to show you otherwise. My retention as far as this was really sucky. And so now I'm linking them instead to this, and my overall retention is doing better. Because if I get rid of just this bar, pretend this first bar doesn't exist, if I look at the retention from here to here, it's way better than from here to here.
Oh, I'm fascinated that page 16 is lower, which means that there are people who literally read all the way to the end and then didn't click on the last page.
But here's the interesting part. What it could also mean is, since I have an update after this, it could mean that people went backwards and looked at the last page maybe more than once. So that's actually pretty common, that you'll have like the last few pages may have one that's lower than the rest. And we're thinking, we're not sure yet, but we're thinking that's because people are backing up, or maybe they're starting on a new release. They'll go back into the old one, look at the last pages, maybe last page or two, and then go back and read the next release, the new one that came out.
I think I've met people who read when they get a story, they'll look at the last page just to see if they like the way it ends, to sort of judge it, to decide whether they want to stay with it. Because if the last page is, and then everybody died, then they're like, yeah, screw this, I'm not reading this.
Yeah, and so I'll do that. Like, I'll usually back up 1 or 2 pages just to see what the last release was, like how it ended. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's where we left off, and like then I'll continue on with the new release that was posted. So I know I do that myself as well. The other thing that's really interesting, at least from a global comics perspective, so maybe you can use this to help you, is this green line. This green line is your average read time per page. So this blue line you use the left side for, as far as number of page reads. And then for this green line, you use the right side of the graph here, and it'll tell you your average reading time in seconds. So it starts out pretty high, and then it varies wildly with these pages, and then gets consistent, goes up, and then pew, like my reading retention just drops after page 10. So I need to go and see, okay, what is on page 10 that might be making people possibly start losing interest? Is there something on that page that maybe they don't like that might be offensive? Is there a lot of text on that page? And then they kind of like start losing their patience and start like skipping through things, because they're only spending like 30 seconds on these, and this last one they're spending none. So what's happening there? I need to figure out what that is. So this can give you some insights into like, why are people staying longer on possibly some pages than others?
Right.
And this varies absolutely. Like with this one, it's pretty it's consistent. So yeah, it's really, so the reason why I have so many is I've merged releases, and so it's kind of done some wonky things to my releases here. Like look at this one, just someone probably left it open on this page for a while, so that I've messed with the wait time or the read time. So weird stuff can happen that can kind of skew the data. But if we look at this, so this is the first release. Here's also the interesting thing. So last month, right? So we look at the last 30 days. If we go back the last 3 months, the data will change again. And so if you want, you can take screenshots and see if your readership is changing over time. Like, are people, now, are people reading more consistently than they did, say, 3 months ago, or even 6 months ago? If I go back 6 months, the data changes just a tiny bit, not very much. But if I look at this data, it's still pretty much the same versus 6 months ago, or like, say, let's look at 1 week. Like, is it consistent? Oh, it's very different over the last week. It's very different. So here's, 1 week, very wildly consistent. A lot of time on any of the pages, only about 30 to 40 seconds. Well, if I go back to a month, wow, people are spending like twice as much time on it. What happened? Why are people spending less time on it? Very interesting question. As far as like an average of the last couple of months. So in like this, after you post your links, after you're starting to get that engagement coming in, you can come in here and see, hey, how are people actually actively engaging with the pages once they're here? That sort of thing. And so all of this can be really, and it can also tell you, hey, these are the pages people like the most. These are the ones that I should be sharing. If I'm posting pages or if I'm posting artwork, these are the ones that I want to share because they get the most time, they get the most engagement from people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I'm actually kind of thinking, I wonder if there's any way to, does Global Comics have like we're complete amateurs and idiots version that post that?
Yes,
one that
we have a video that's all about digital marketing. It's about an hour long, and it breaks down all the stuff that I've done into like smaller, more manageable chunks with people who actually are professionals with marketing.
Oh no, I was talking about can I make an account at Global Comics and actually post my comic there? Or do I need to be a professional?
Anyone can post there. Anyone can post there.
That's where I'm posting my comic at, guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like sitting there going, well, this is great. I mean, just this alone right here is really useful for me. Just being able to see what people are interested in.
Right. So this is releases. So this is just one thing of releases, right? So we also have just page reads and my elbow hurt. We have page reads in general, which is a little different. So the difference is releases look at your individual page data. Your page reads looks at just everything, like all of the different page reads over every individual time frame, whatever that time frame is that you set. So here's my data for the last.
How does it know panel reads?
So when you create a comic, you can actually create individual frames on top of your panels. So that, say, you create traditional page format, but you still want people to have this panel by panel reading experience. We have a feature that allows creators to create little frames on top of their panels so that if they want to, when they click next, it simply takes them to the next panel, which you've created, instead of the next page. So if you still want the panel by panel experience without having to still do that. That's an optional feature. For me, the panel reads comes from my Onami manga because that's what I have them turned on is the Onami manga. So because notice this is for all my series. So if I take it to just Onami over the last month, this comic is 2 years old now and it's still getting reads, which is absolutely fascinating to me. It's still performing half decently. So this is the data for the last month. Yeah, the last month, daily data for the last month. So yesterday, it got 57 page reads, which is about the whole thing. So someone read it all the way through yesterday, I'm guessing. So, yeah, I mean, I don't talk about it that much, activity. And so I'm like, wait, where are they coming from? An ad that I didn't put out. This direct is organic within Global Comics itself. So 44 people found it. Amazingly somehow, or with like a direct link to somewhere where I posted the link directly somewhere. Reddit, I know I did post it on Reddit. I don't have a link tree. So what this means is that particular reader, this one person that came in through Linktree, came in through someone else's Linktree, or read their comic or saw mine recommended or browsed somewhere within the same session. Meaning that from when they entered, they didn't leave Global Comics or anything. They're in the same session and then ended up reading mine during. So that's very, very interesting. Yeah. And then remember this Manga Makers, the Amat page 20 panel 7, that video that I made? Two people saw that video that I made for my Godsbane manga and came in and read it. They didn't read very much. But I still had 2 people that saw my Godsbane manga and either read it through or saw Onami and was like, hey, that looks really cool. Let me check that out.
Right.
So that tells me, ooh, nifty. I don't know what this is. This Daz 3D. I don't know what that is. So I'm going to have to look it up.
Daz 3D is the Daz 3D is the 3D modeling program that I use almost exclusively for my stuff.
That's interesting.
So
I've seen Manga Scout on my Godsbane one, so I don't post on Manga
Scout. It's very, very similar to the 3D model system that's in Clip. So
that makes sense.
Poser, old Poser program.
Mm-hmm.
It's a competing company with Poser.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's the same kind of thing as Poser. But I mean, most of us who use Poser or Daz, we're using it for artwork anyway. So we're in the community. So that makes some sense that there's a link out of that.
Okay, so one more thing I want to show you guys is you can change the time frame for things. So I've switched it over to Godsbane. I can change this time frame. So say I want to see the last month, but I want to see weekly data because I want to be able to come to each other. It will take a second. but then it'll switch over the data. There we go. Okay, so here's my weekly data. So before, like, it looked really hard to read and understand very well. So now I can look at my weekly data and go, oh yeah, it's been a bad week comparatively to all the other weeks. But I didn't do a lot of promos this week. We've been in the post San Diego Comic-Con slump this week.
Right, that makes some sense. Hey,
I've been
you
busy.
didn't catch COVID, so I'm calling that a plus.
I know, right? Yeah. So
a lot of people came back from there with COVID. So
I have a lot of people have COVID now, but so we have all these different metrics that we have on this graph, and say, man, I really want to see these other lines, but these blue ones just, man, they make it really hard to see. Well, if you click on this, it turns it off. And so you can completely customize like specific information we're seeing. So if I only want to see panel reads, which I only have one of, because I turned panels off, I turned the From God's Bane, because I wanted to see if it would help my readership, and it did. Just saying. So I'm going to turn everything else back on. Yeah, I personally don't like the frame system. Me personally, it's not my
sure.
thing.
I feel like it would be
a panel by panel reader. Anyway. Some people. It does a lot of time to add them. I'm going to be honest. I'll just be fair. It can take some time to get them added, and we're working on a fix to that. Something that might at least automate it, at least get them made, and then if any small adjustments need to be made, it could be easier to do. So we're trying to think of a better way to make that easier for onboarding users. So we're aware of that one. If I want to see just unique readers versus visits, I can actually see, oh, well, they tend to follow each other. That kind of thing. So just fun stuff. And then, of course, we can, turn it all back on. I usually don't even turn that one on because there's no point in me having that one on. But then, so here's something else that might be an example. So this last one right here, social, Twitter, nightmare, GCRID. So what this means, this is another example of someone coming in through another comic that's not mine and ended up reading mine. They didn't read a lot. So whenever you see GC and then like a bunch of letters and numbers, that is a Global Comics post. So I had one person come in they read one page, and it was from the comic Nightmare. We have this one was mine. They shared mine somewhere, and they read much, which is disappointing. Here's another one, Skyline. One person came in and they read 9 pages. Where's my banger tweet? Where's my banger tweet? Oh, have I not had any reads from it lately? What? I guess I haven't had any reads from it lately. Okay. Here's an example. So I made a Twitter post, right? This is coming from my UTM. So Twitter celebration #1 for the week. I was #1 on the whole platform for that particular week. And so I made a special post about it. The link to the comic was a UTM, which means everyone who clicked on it, I can tell that you clicked on it. So let me find that here. That'd be under celebration. Here we go. #1 for the week. That's this row right here. So Twitter celebration number for the week. And so medium source campaign term. Medium source campaign term. Makes it easy for me to find out where it is. Now I'm still figuring out a good naming system so that I can figure out how all this works. Oh, this was supposed to be red. That way I know that this one got deleted. So I will not do this again. I will not post in this area again because it got deleted, which is not bueno.
So
it happens.
Wait. So on Reddit, it got deleted because it was against their rules.
Promo. Yeah. Which I couldn't see any rules. I saw nothing about saying self promo was not okay, and so I posted. I wanted to see what would happen. I'm not banned or anything. They just deleted the post. So next time I post there, I have to be extra careful Or, for example, in fantasy art, it might be more worth my while to not promote there, but just share artwork, just be a general artist there and just share my work without actually working to promote my comic. So I'll have to be really careful if I decide I want to post there again and kind of like go over it. But usually what I'll do when I'm planning my post for the week is I'll just make a bunch of these for the week. Like you can see I didn't really post a lot this week. Usually I'll just drag this down and I'll have a post for every single day and then I'll plan it out. I had a different document than this one before, so like I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff that I'm like copying over into this one so I can have all the data in one place. But I'll just make my link, fill all these out, and once all these are filled out, it'll make a new link over here. So let's say I want to post on Twitter for my birthday. So it'd be Twitter. This is a celebration post. And I'd say birthday 31. So I turned 31 this year. So see, boom, it made a new link. It's automatic. It makes my life so much easier. There are lots of websites you can go to where they'll have the formula already made for you. You type in all your stuff and it'll make a brand new link for you.
Okay.
So.
Well, now knowing what all of that is, that's really cool because I've seen that link pattern before, and I have assumed that it was some kind of phishing scam. So now that I know that it's all somebody's trying to do is just track where it's coming from, I'll click on those more often. Because I'm a suspicious Gen Xer. I mean, I see something where it says, here's the link to my comics, www.abc.com, and you hover over it, and then it's got question mark Google, question mark Medium, question mark, and I'm like, uh-oh, that's a bait and switch, so kind of glad to know this.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, oh, there might have been a few of those that I didn't click on for you, Kat, sorry. But now I know what they are, so I will click on them. Because I'm reading that now, your generated URL, and going, oh, I've seen those. I silenced you. I didn't mean to silence you.
Kat, are you okay?
I've got a red bar on her. Network connection 0 of 10.
Oh no.
I think bonked. I think we lost him. That's all right. I gotta head to bed, but this was really cool. So you want to hang until they get back?
Yeah, I'll hang till they get back. But this has been like fascinating.
Eye-opening. This is insanely cool.
I need to go back and
rewatch
this video at least 8 more times.
Right? Unfortunately, I'm heading up to Fort Collins tomorrow morning, so I've got to go to bed so I can. Yeah, I figured they would dump somewhere along the line.
Like she came, or they came in a little later. So the first few minutes is me talking, like the first half an hour, and then when they came in, it's like my mind I'm going through space. It's like, oh.
Right? I'll go back and look through all of this stuff again. It's way cool.
Yeah, this is like, I got a message on Facebook.
Crashy goodness.
I lost my internet connection.
That's right. Just an excuse to have him back later on. So I'm gonna bow out though because I'm about to fall over right here. I'm so tired. So Oh, we got him back. We got him back. We got him back.
Are you back?
Still at 0 of 10. Nope.
It's
Nope. 10 of 10.
bouncing. Like
7 of 10.
Cat, you have no idea how much you have
like
blown both of our minds.
Unfortunately,
Like
I have to be up in the morning because I got to go to Fort Collins. So I'm going to leave and go to bed and rewatch this later. Thank you, Kat. Appreciate it. And I'll see you later, Ken. And I am out of here. Bye.
at least 8 more times. So anyways, it is about midnight. Is Cat back? Hello? No. You want to go through them. Okay. I don't know if you can hear me, Cat, but have a nice night. And please come back because, oh my God, you are really changing how we look at things. So this has been an amazing stream tonight to listen to and to interact with, and wow. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. This has been Ken. Guy was on here earlier, and we will catch you guys later. Bye.